we're just going to look at um, a couple of things before we have conversation. So one is basically just time management. How do you manage time, right? So usually, especially for people that work outside, even if you're working in design, but more for people that works outside design, you would have find yourself having issues where you've not done anything design related. Well, time management covers everything, not just design, but let's focus on design related, right? In some of the challenges we have is not really time problem. It's focus, priority, and energy problem. So how do you approach time management from fixing these three things: the focus, the priority, and the energy? The first thing, which is the focus, you have to ask yourself, what does good use of time mean? When do I say, oh, I use this time judiciously, when this time was actually used well, right? Because sometimes amidst our no times, we have times. We have time to. There are some things that you definitely create time for. For instance, to eat. You create time to eat, no matter how busy you are. So that's to tell you that there are some things that I don't think we pray we don't get to any situation that you don't have time to eat. But what most people think is, I was busy today, so my week has been busy. This week I'm busy because busy doesn't mean productive, right? So we don't say, oh, because I was busy this week or today, I did so well today, right? In terms of focus, I will call high performance, or people that has focus or structure, ask the question, did I move right? Did I move forward in the right direction today? Right? Did I execute the right thing today? Did I touch on the right thing today? One of the good rules to follow is a good day should mean this type of meaningful task, meaningful outcome, not individual tasks, outcomes, not tasks. So if you're tracking your day by outcomes, okay, today I was able to achieve this in terms of outcome, not tasks, because tasks can make you seem like you're actually productive, right? So as product designers, your outputs should be focused on decisions, your finished work, your directions, and not the activities itself. So that's when you're talking on focus. And when you're talking of priority, so you need to identify one non-negotiable win for the day or for the week, but let's take it daily. For the day, that means even if every other thing fails, this thing must be a win for me this day, right? So you need to ask yourself every morning, if I finish one thing today that will make tomorrow easier, what would it be? If I finish one thing today that I can say, well, I'm accomplished for today, what would that thing be? Right. So that's priority. Right. An example would be, maybe I'm going to finish this portfolio this week, or I'm going to finish this print this day, or send down comfortable message, listen to that ebook or read that book. Right. So you need to have that thing that pretty much just says, this is what I'm achieving today or this week, right? So you can put it anyway. So that prevents the day from being full but empty, being full with activity but empty in what we got in number one, which is output, being empty in output. but filled up with activities. I learned something during this week. I was watching an interview of a lady, and she was talking about she has two children. She manages a whole lot of businesses. So she was talking about. So the question was, how do you prioritize? How do you do work-life balance? And I've always also thought that work-life balance doesn't exist. There's nothing like work-life balance, right? And she said there's no. She doesn't believe in work-life balance. What she believes is glass ball and plastic ball. Now, what does this mean? Glass ball, plastic ball. Think of a glass ball as a ball made of um you know this lantern, that light glass that can break if you drop it, right? Then a plastic ball, pretty much the type of balls you already know. Now, a glass ball has to do with things that, or items that, if you lose it, if you miss it, something's going to be disrupted, something's going to change, something's going to spoil. So that becomes your glass ball event or glass ball moment, right? While your plastic ball are pretty much things that you can pick up from, right? You can always pick up. For instance, if you had an interview and the interview falls on the same day you are supposed to join a boot camp call or a boot camp training, what becomes the glass ball? The interview becomes the glass ball. The boot camp becomes the plastic ball. The plastic ball, because you can watch recordings, you can ask someone what was taught today, but if you miss the interview, you cannot go back to it. Now, in that event also, if you have, let's say, an interview with the radio station, and you have an interview with a job interview with Shell or Chevron, that interview with the radio station becomes the glass ball, the plastic ball moment event, because once you can always call and say, can we schedule? I can't do it. Even if they've already printed banner, you need to think what becomes more important in this case. So that becomes your glass ball, and what becomes your plastic ball is something that you can pretty much reschedule. Maybe visiting a friend, spending time with your family. You can always pick that up in regards to something else. But even spending time with your family, say maybe it's your child's birthday, it can be a glass ball moment, right? Because it can be a glass ball moment because and we look at glass ball moment and plastic ball moment in relationship with what other things you have out there to do, right? Not in relationship with the event itself. So sleeping can be a glass ball moment in priority to what do you have to do, right? Can you go back to this? Can you pick it up some other time and everything like that, right? So you need to know what is your glass ball moment and your plastic ball moment every day or every week to know what can I defer now and do later. What must I attend to now? What is priority to be attended to? Okay. So maybe designing a screen, your portfolio, weight in that term of glass ball, plastic ball, and that's one of the ways to handle the time part of priority. Remember, focus has to do with meaningful outcome. Priority has to do with what is important. Right then. Lastly, the third one is energy. All right. So stop planning your days by hour. Maybe you plan it by mental hours, by mental energy rather. Right. So deep work, shallow work, recovery. Deep work means, and I think one of the calls, I don't know, I was having that call with, I can't remember, we talked about using the Pomodoro technique, right? So deep work, shallow work, recovery. So deep work is the part that has you thinking, that has you writing, that has you designing, that has you researching. That's deep work. So shallow work are your emails, your WhatsApp, your reviews, right? So you think about the energy that's attached to it or each of this. Now, if, for instance, some have you ever read or watched a social media post and you just feel so tired, like especially when it has to do with the country and you just look like, why am I here? So that's just to show you how much something your activities can actually be energy demanding, right? So when you have your day attached to these three modes, deep work, shallow work, and recovery. So don't mix the mode. So your deep work is your thinking, your designing, your writing, your research, everything that has to do with work. And your shallow works are your emails, your WhatsApp, reviews, um, chats, stuff like that. While your recovery is you're taking a walk, you are eating, you are trying to be, you're having a quiet time, right? So that's light work, right? So you need to prioritize that. What is my best time for? Now, you everybody can't have the same thing. What's my best time for deep work? Some people will say, well, I'm a night person. I'm a night person. um, like I said from the beginning of this conversation, a lot has to do with self-sincerity, right? Because we need to be able to hold ourselves accountable first before even others can hold you accountable. All right. Accountability, partner or pairing can only work when you are accountable to yourself first. So you need to be first accountable to yourself before you become accountable or so be accountable to others. Because if you call me and say, oh, what did you do this week? And I can tell you, well, this week has been very busy and I'm giving you activities, right? Remember, we talked about activity and output. So I can be giving you activity without output. But if I'm accountable to myself, I know that, oh, this week I was not productive. Not because I couldn't have been. Maybe I didn't have this energy, right? So I didn't have the energy around it, right? So you need to just figure out what works for you. Your morning, maybe you're a morning person, afternoon, and also how your normal day works. For me, I can't be productive on Monday morning because I usually have meetings till like I think 2. Oh, those meetings are distracting, and so I'll be having multiple meetings. So that Monday morning, I know that I have to schedule my productive work so afternoon or evening, right? So that's already a routine. So I've identified that. So now, when you've identified something like that, you can ask, okay, which of this, the deep work can go into my afternoons or evenings while I use my morning for shallow work. They send email, have the meetings, like I said, that doesn't require a lot of your energy. Review, respond to chats. And one of the things that has actually helped a lot is having the time frame for actually chatting or responding to notifications. You know, those notifications, especially people that has that sound that usually come on when a WhatsApp message drops, can be very distracting. So sometimes having those structures in place that, okay, you have a particular time to respond to those messages, that can just be the game changer in how you manage your time or how you structure your time, right? For instance, like I said, using the Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro means you break your time into 25 minutes chunk, right? So even if you're a morning, afternoon, evening person, so when you're doing that, your deep work, break your time into 25 minutes. So after the first 25 minutes, like during that 25 minutes, you're focused on a particular task. You're not scrolling in between different tasks. Like you're not jumping around from teams to, you're not jumping around. Focus on a particular task for 25 minutes. After the 25 minutes, take a 5 minutes break. Now, these 25 minutes, like I said, on one task. So that means there are some tasks that would require more than 25 minutes. So that means we have 2 or 3 Pomodoro cycles, right? So 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. So if you, by the time you're on the fourth 25 minutes, that's 2 hours. And I would, if you use this, I can assure you that you would see tangible results, right? You can track record results. Say, okay, I want to create this page in 4 circles or 6 circles, and I will track it that way. 25 minutes. I stretch my leg. That 5 minutes is not 5 minutes to go and eat. It's 5 minutes to walk around. Sometimes to just listen to music, just the flutter. But it shouldn't be more than 5 minutes. So there's actually even an app for that online. Like there are a lot of apps you can use. Just search for Pomodoro, Pomodoro. There's an app for it. So after the fourth 25 minutes, you now take a 15 minutes break. So 25 in 4 circles, 25 5 minutes, 25 5 minutes, 25 under 5 minutes, 25. Then instead of 5 minutes, you take 15. Then you come and start another circle like that. Anyway, you can always readjust that. So now thinking about your you can now look at, okay, my evenings for recovery or shallow walks. Maybe I'll just be learning something. Maybe I'll be reading a book, things that doesn't require too much brain energy, right? So one way we can do this is using a two-list system in all of this, right? So two-list system means list A, the impact list, and it should have a maximum of 3 items. So 3 items that is actually going to move your life, whatever you're trying to achieve. 3 items that will move your business forward. Right? That's list A, that's the impact list. The list B is maintenance list. Every other thing enters here. Like every other thing. So you cannot, the goal is, the idea is you cannot touch list B until something in list A is already completed. So I can't touch my maintenance list till my impact list is completed. So say, okay, I can't reply this message till I finish this thing or one thing on this list, right? Now, remember the impact list has to do with things that actually move your life or your business or whatever you're trying to track, moves it forward, right? Then every other thing that just happens by the day, right? So you must finish an item on list A before you enter list B. So this, only just having this in place with every other thing I've talked about in terms of your focus, priority, and energy, right? Every other thing, having this system in place can fix 70% of your time management problem. I know people usually ask, how do you juggle? How do you mix this? Having classes, having a 9 to 5, mixing it with business. So it's just being able to structure your time into this, right? All right. So the and that thing also has to do with switching tasks. Remember, I've said when you are doing Pomodoro, you need to focus, because every time you switch a task, that's why I don't see um that's that skill we usually put in our CVs before. I don't know if we still do that. I am able to multitask, because you can't do 100% of two things. You cannot have 100% of two things. You can't focus on doing something and something else and give either of them 100%, right? So multitasking is in its real sense is actually one, an energy drain, and it is actually a time killer, because each time you switch between one task and another, your brain needs to pay a fine for reset. Your brain needs to switch. Your brain has been going on a dynamic path, just like when you are designing. Sometimes you are designing and your mind is just fixing the buttons where the button is supposed to be, because your brain is on a flow. It's like a current or a river, and it's flowing already. And imagine that river turn to a staircase immediately. All of a sudden, your brain will have to try to readjust, right, and pick up the next task. At the beginning of the next task, you are not also at 100%. Your brain just started flowing. Then all of a sudden, you are switching again, right? So your brain pays that reset fee. So usually, you don't do context switching. So when you are doing Pomodoro or you are using any other technique, you are focused on one thing, one task, one tab, one goal at a time. If I show you my tab, I usually have a lot of tab open. Why? Because each of them has time allocated to it. Once I'm done with that segment of that one, it can be there for days before I'll come back to it. I just leave it open so that I know that it's there. So you focus on one task and one goal, right? Maybe after your fourth cycle of your Pomodoro, you take a short break, and that short break helps you to reset. By the time you are coming to the next task, which is something different from what it was doing before, it's coming afresh. You're not switching, you're not juggling around, and you focus on that one again till you finish. Now, that's if you have that. I know it's not practical for some people, in terms of people that works in bank. You have 5 customers you have to attend to at a time. You have to switch tabs. That's fine. But when you are now doing your personal thing, you should know that you need to have this compartment of focusing on one thing at a time, right? So let's also add that you should have what we call a hard stop. A hard stop. So a hard stop means you are not just, how do I put it? You're not just saying, okay, I'm going to be designing this screen, or I'll do this, I'll work on it today. You need to have a hard stop that said, I have 2 hours. I'll do this in 2 hours. I'll do this in 3 hours. So in the next 3 hours, I know that my mind already constrained that task, or constrain itself to achieving that, if it's achievable, or segmenting what, okay, let me get to this aspect in this time that's allocated to it. And the way the mind works, if you've watched the mind explained, the mind is a very powerful tool, and we are using just how many percent of it? It's in 9%. How many percent of the brain are we using? Right. So the I think you guys should watch the documentary called "The Mind Explained." It's on Netflix. Right. So having that open-ended time just tells your brain that you have time. Like if you say, "Oh, I work on it today," you just know that okay, today has not finished. I still have later in the afternoon. I have in the evening. I have in the night. Then the night, you'll find out that you're tired. That has gone. So it helps cut off that part of one perfectionism, like trying to make things perfect. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Adjust, adjust, and adjust and adjust. But if there is a time, if there's a time limit that you've put to it, you know that you can't adjust forever, right? And it also helps with procrastination, where you don't move things. You don't move things. So let me do it in the next 1 hour. I'll do it in the next 1 hour. Okay, let me quickly watch football. Let me quickly watch this program. Then I'll come back to it. So you need to have that hard stop, not endless work, not open-ended timing. Put that time to it. That's why that Pomodoro works. Some of the apps that has Pomodoro, you can actually fix in these tasks to it, put in time, put in the structure to it. So it helps you track that, right? Then once a week, which is one of the things we are doing, you need to have 30 minutes to yourself to ask what to move forward, right? Which is part of like what we are trying to, because taking an inventory of your week helps the new week actually, right? You need to know what moved forward this week. What did I do well that actually helped me achieve what I needed to achieve this week? What stalled? What didn't move forward? And why? Right? So what should not exist next week? All of this comes into that inventory. So you take a weekly reset, right? What moved forward? What worked? What did I do well in? What did I lack in? What can I improve in? So you take all of that, right? So you need to delete some, delegate some, defer some, right? Or do more of some, right, every week. So if your workload doesn't reduce with system, then the system is broken. Right? If you put all the system in place and you don't see an improvement or a reduction in the stress or the energy that you exert in coming up with your week, then the system is broken. Sometimes we don't even have you can't really even say what you did the week because you don't have an inventory of it. And that's why I usually ask, how did your week go? That you can look back and say, okay, this week I was able to do this, I was able to do that. And you're able to use that to plan for the next week. Okay, this week I didn't do much of this because of this. So next week, this is what I'll do and avoid this. Right. Then finally, we need to have what we call emotional discipline. Like emotional discipline is very key, right? Sometimes it's not like you are tired. It's not like you're stressed. It's just you are avoiding making a hard decision. You are afraid of starting, or you are overthinking actually doing something. You're overthinking, okay, if I start it now, how will it come out? And the hardest part of something is actually starting. The moment you start, go and ask people that started YouTube channel. Starting is the hardest part. You will think, oh, this thing is very hard. By the time you start it, then you will say, oh, why did I not start this thing 2 years ago? Right. So when you feel like you are stuck, you need to ask yourself, what am I actually avoiding right now? Am I avoiding starting? Am I overthinking execution? Or is it a hard decision that is hard for me to um, take? So momentum will beat motivation every time. So I can talk about this, you can come and listen. But remember, I usually I oversay this. You cannot make change, you cannot learn, you cannot do anything by listening or being motivated or having an accountability partner. Momentum starting, having that momentum is what actually kicks it off. It's what puts you on the right direction of becoming or maybe a better designer or becoming a designer. Right. So one of the small daily structure you can try next week is that's what I called the having knowing that your energy level, right? So in the morning or maybe your afternoon. So in the morning, focus on your deep tasks. In the morning, you usually have like 3 hours, 9, 10, 11, or 10, 11, 12. So focus on your deep tasks. Fix in some pomodoros in between. Maybe if you are someone that has 8 hours, 8 to 12. Sorry, 4 hours rather, 8 to 12. Fix in that's eight. It's it will be up to eight. It will be like around six sessions of Pomodoro because you have a 30 minutes break in between. Now use that for one deep task. Deep task is task that is change that is moving the goal forward. Remember we listed it initially, right? So maybe in your morning you have one for the deep task. Then in the midday, which is your afternoon, you're looking at your communications, you're chatting that person up, you're making calls, you are replying messages. Then in the afternoon, you do another deep. You do another deep task, right? You do another deep task, maybe one deep task and one shallow work, right? So when you're done with that, you now maybe in the evening, you now review plan for the next day and do your light walks, your every other thing, maybe gisting, every other thing can fall into that. So that's it. No fancy tool required. No Excel sheet to plan your day. The most important thing is ownership and accountability to yourself. You need to own your progress and you need to be accountable to yourself first. Right? Accountable means you are beating yourself up for to achieve what you need to achieve. Right. So finally, like I've been saying, time management is self-management. So you need to be able to manage it yourself and manage yourself, right? So if you protect your focus, decide faster, stop trying to do everything, you would suddenly understand that I actually have more time or I'm actually achieving more in the same time, right? Without any extra hour, right? So that's how you can pretty much manage your time for the next week. Um Sorry, I think I turned this to a TED talk. Let's hear from you. Any addition, subtraction? Deborah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the TED talk. um, I have a question. So you said we should know our energy level and we should try and plan our day according to that. So I want to ask if there are some times that in the morning you won't feel like working at all. Well, for me, especially because I work from home, and there are some days that in the morning you won't feel like working at all. So what do you advise doing in that situation? And what do you think one can do like in the morning if you don't feel like working at all at all?
I mean, well, we've all been there. We've all been there, right? In days where people feel like, oh, today I don't feel like doing anything. So it's a normal thing. So, so letting that feeling decide your action is what will break that momentum, right? Feelings are data, they are no instructions. So it's a feeling you don't feel like working, right? You don't wait to feel like brushing your teeth. You don't wait to feel like um, taking your bath, right? So feelings are data, not instructions. So you need to first understand. Now it's different from creative block. Oh. Creative block is I'm sitting in front of my system, trying to do the work, but nothing is coming, right? It's not that feeling of not even wanting to work at all, but it's actually a life. Sometimes you wake up like that and just feel like lying down and hoping that the work can get itself done. So sometimes you need to diagnose why you have that feeling. And there are some reasons. Sometimes you're actually genuinely tired. And genuinely tired means you've um, mentally stressed yourself, you've physically stressed yourself. And what you can do in that time is you actually need to rest. It's not discipline. You need to rest. Remember, I said um, glass ball, plastic ball. At that point, resting becomes your glass ball, right? So you actually need to rest. So sometimes you are overwhelmed. You have too many things in your mind. You have too many things to do. You have too many. You don't even know where to start from, and that can weigh you down to even start at all. So what you need at that point is clarity, not motivation. You need clarity on how do I move next? What's the next step? What should I actually start with? Right. And um we're trying to create a product, and this actually came in place like everything was just overwhelming. We are seeing so many features from competitors, and the truth is it's very easy to bury yourself in that. Is there a word for overwhelming feeling in that? So what you need is just clarity on one thing. What is the next thing? So you know how they say take the baby step, the first step, then the next step. Instead of thinking of the whole journey, think about the junctions. Okay, I need to get to this junction. When I get to this junction, I will look at the next junction and how to get there. Instead of thinking of going the whole journey, because the whole journey might look like a lot. So that makes you overwhelmed. Number sometimes also you are bored, right? You need something that is challenging. It happened to me when I was doing data entry in Ministry of Lands in Lagos. I be lands. Yeah. We're doing data entry, the same thing every day, just punching in some numbers. And it was as I'm getting to work then, I'm already thinking of when I'm going home. Like when will this, when will we close? And I'm just getting to work. So sometimes you need challenge. And that just made me to figure out that I actually don't like a repetitive work, something that you have to redo the same process, the same. structure every day for different thing. You're entering the same data for a different land or a different property. Very boring. So what you need in that point is you need something new. You need something challenging. Now, if you are in that structure of where you can't create something challenging, you now think of, how do I make this thing look like a challenge? Right? Can I beat my previous record? Okay, let's say you enter this data in 40 minutes. Can I do it in 30? Can I do it in 20? Right? So it becomes more of a challenge and helps you feel less bored. So sometimes you're also trying to avoid something, maybe avoiding something uncomfortable. Right? So you need to ask. At that point, what you need is courage, because you already know what you need to do, but you are just avoiding it. Maybe you don't like research, and maybe the next phase that you have is research. But when you wake up, you know that today is the research day again. So it becomes overwhelming. It makes you feel like you don't feel like working. So at that point, you need to muster up the courage and just start doing it. So you need to ask yourself honestly. Remember, everything has to do with you. Ask yourself honestly, which one is this out of everything? Which one is actually the problem? Right? So you use what we call the minimum viable progress rule. So on low energy days, lower the bar. Not zero. You can lower the bar. But you need to have what we call barest minimum. What's your definition of barest minimum? That means remember I mentioned it earlier. That means for my day to be complete, this is the barest minimum that I should have achieved. So on low energy days, you are going to fall back to that barest minimum. That means it's not like you are not going to achieve anything, but you are going to achieve the barest minimum. So whatever it is, maybe you want to design a full app. Okay, let me just do login screen. At least login screen, everybody knows what login screen will look like, right? So that's barest minimum. At least let's bring login flow out, right? So instead of thinking of designing the full flow, maybe it's even the login flow you want to design, and you are already feeling this way. Barest minimum. Can I just design the forgot password? Only forgot password today. Tomorrow we'll continue the remaining flow, the many of the same flow. So that barest minimum, anything, you can just set your barest minimum that this is the minimum thing I have to achieve. Right. So success was never like a straight line graph. Sometimes it comes down, then you go up again. So you need to just understand that success on a bad day is still equals showing up. Right? It might not be equal to excelling, but on a bad day, success is equal to showing up. That means even though I felt this way today, I still showed up. Right? And that would make you also feel successful. However, sometimes you might need to switch to what we call maintenance mode. Right? This number is busy. Try again later. So instead of doing deep work, like if you are at that point that you really, really can do deep work. So maintenance mode is doing tasks like maybe cleaning your room, maybe organizing your Figma file, maybe clearing your inbox. Maybe you want to just read your messages, reply to the ones you want to reply to. I don't mean WhatsApp chats of how are you? I'm fine. I'm talking of messages that are also still productive, right? Respond to simple messages. We can also still review, pick up something you've done before and review it, write about why you did it. It can also mean for some people journaling, right? just write in your journal if you do that. So what does it help you do? It helps you stay in motion. It helps you still do something without draining yourself. Now, those tasks are maintenance mode tasks. They are not really tasks. They don't require, they are not really moving the goal forward, right? But they are maintaining the structure, they are maintaining the consistency, and they are maintaining the momentum, right? So it helps you to stay in motion, right? So remember what I said about having a time to it, right? So instead of saying, "Oh, I'll work today," instead of now saying, "Okay, 4 pomodoros," you can say, "Okay, let me just do one." Then from that one, you decide how to do the next one. Then you use a time container using this pomodoro. You say, "Okay, let me just do one pomodoro," and you know that once you finish that one, you're allowed to stop, and your mind, the mind of your mind, will be satisfied, right? So that's some of the ways to manage that feeling, right? So sometimes if it's just being draining, maybe if you go to the gym, if you have like a gym registration, sometimes going to the gym can just reset that feeling. So maybe you go to the gym in the evening, especially since you say you work out from home, you should maybe try to have that in your routine. So maybe you go to the gym in the evenings before that day, just decide, because you woke up and not feel like doing anything, go to the gym in the morning, right? Sometimes it might just be laying your bed. You just wake up and just force yourself to lay your bed. There's a video I usually play in my classes, and the video say, if you want to change the world, start by laying your bed, right? Because laying your bed will help you achieve the smallest task for that day, right? And with one task achieved, it means you will achieve more and achieve more. That's why when they are saying, "Oh, how do you write your daily tasks?" Sometimes you start from the smallest, the easiest to achieve, because that easiest to achieve will give you momentum that you have ticked something out of the box. Let me tick the next one, tick the next one. But if you try to pick the hardest one, you might end up using the whole day not ticking it. Then you will have 7 other things under it that are also not ticked, right? So you can just create that low energy day playbook for yourself. All these things differ for each situation, each day you wake up, and also each person, right? So remember, I said one small win, one maintenance task. You can define it for yourself. Okay, say, okay, this is my barest minimum. And if I finish this barest minimum, I'll do this maintenance task. And you don't need to feel guilty. And that's where we get locked in. You feel guilty that you have failed that day. And this is what's going to help you. So this was going to help you to still not feel all this structure I just said. So you need to never say to yourself, "Oh, I'm lazy," or "I failed today. I did not achieve anything today." So just know that today, you can even say to yourself, "Okay, today is my low capacity day." And that's why I name it barest minimum. Like you yourself, you tell yourself, "Okay, at least I achieved the barest minimum." So that identity matters, because you are someone that actually wants to show up. Even though you are showing up imperfectly, you still get to show up, right? So there are some times that you should, like I said, you should fully rest. So if you are sick, please rest. Don't do the rest minimum, just 100% rest, because health is wealth. Sometimes you're also emotionally overloaded. Say someone just lost someone. I don't expect that person to try to do BS minimum, because your emotions are overloaded, right? So it's okay to 100% rest. Remember, glass ball, plastic ball, glass ball, plastic ball. So some days also you've been pushing so much every day for, let's say, for the past 2 weeks. Maybe, for instance, maybe you are building something. The days I take tech for the dev classes, that week, those 2 weeks are usually like that, because I talk from 4 p.m. to 7:38 non-stop. So those 2 weeks are usually very, very talk intensive, because it also has a lot of mental preparation to it. Then after that, I used to take like one day off and say, okay, today I just want to watch movie. I just want to sleep. Just something, right? So if you'll be pushing, just know that rest is part of productivity, because we are Christians here. Because in the Bible, it said, what did God do in the 7th day? He rested. So because it's also part of productivity, right? So next time when you don't feel like working, ask yourself, what's the smallest action that keeps me aligned with who I'm trying to become? What's the smallest action that I need to take to keep me aligned with who I am becoming? Do that smallest action or smallest task, then stop. So that's pretty much discipline with compassion. So it's not about doing it perfectly every time. It's about keeping that momentum and not stopping that momentum. Deborah, I hope I answered your question in my best ability.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much. All what you said were relatable. So I've learned a lot. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Beauty, any question? Any question? Addition, subtraction.
I, I just want a question.
Is that you have a question?
I don't have a question, but I just feel like no, not like a question. I
Right.
don't know if everything applies to me because I feel like I'm still in my building phase where I have to do so many things. So I don't know if I'll be able to apply this to my daily routine. That's how I feel.
Hmm. Well, like I said, that structure is not one size fits all. You have to customize it to fit you. Now, I understand the building stage. That there are 3 stages in life. In everything, even in design, there is the survival stage, the stability stage, and the significant stage. So, survival stage is where you are just doing everything to survive in that world, right? If you are learning design for the first time, your survival stage is you are on YouTube, you are on boot camp, you are signing up for like 5 boot camps, as they are just saying the link, you are signing up. So that's survival stage for you. Then stability stage is where you are balanced and you take one thing at a time. You don't learn it, don't try to do everything at the same time. So you need to just figure out for you what can work. One of it can will actually work. You just need to structure it into your day or your time. Now, if you do it 9 to 5, do you do it 9 to 5?
No, I don't. I'm currently 7.
Okay, so why do you feel it?
It's a school though, but I don't go every day.
So why do you feel it doesn't apply? You can't apply it to you.
Because I still attend classes at the fellowship. I still attend classes at the fellowship. So sometimes I am in class and I don't think I can break the class to switch my task. Um, I don't know.
It's pretty much meant for you. It's meant for you. So because, like I said, glass ball, plastic ball. You just need to figure out what is glass ball and what is plastic ball. You need to now start putting in all these structures. I don't know if how the recording is available anyway, because I don't have a slide for it. But you need to just figure out all of this and look at how can you structure it to your own particular self, right? You might not be able to put everything in structure. However, you have, no matter what, because you're in the survival stage, you also need to stretch yourself. As like saying that Steve Harvey said that someone trying to get rich cannot sleep for 8 hours in a day, in the night. Because by the time you're sleeping, something's happening. Right. I'm just saying, doesn't mean you shouldn't get 8 hours good rest. Just means that in your survival stage, you will cut off some things. I might remember then my pastor used to say he never ate in eatery till he had like he was rich. And it wasn't because he cut it off. He cut off luxury because he was building something. Now, those things are survival mode. They are things that you need to make sacrifices on. Sometimes it can be sleep. Sometimes it can be the long call you usually have with somebody. With there's one person that, if this person we talk every day, and for that one every day we speak for like 4 hours. That 4 hours cut it to 20 minutes. Use the remaining time to do something else. So you just need to have that sacrificial part to achieve what you want to achieve. If not, this is where rat race comes in, right? Rat race means you are just living your life in that circle. If you're a worker, that means you are working to live and living to work, right? Your next salary is to prepare you to make the next salary, to prepare you to make the next salary. And your life just revolve around that. So you make that sacrifices, and that sacrifice, for instance, I can't sacrifice my time to, let's say I'm doing a 9 to 5. Now, because the work is overwhelming, like there are so many things to do, I will now make out time. So you understand, that's not sacrificing, because it's not building something different in the right direction, which is the direction you have set down. What is my goal for the year? It's not going to put you into that direction. It's going to actually just keep you. You're sacrificing to keep you where you are. That's pretty much it. To become, maybe you become most valuable. It's even most valuable. Don't even award that again. They say the reward of hard work is more work, right? So you just need to figure out that structure. I believe it can work for you if you say we're supposed to have a call, right? So we'll talk about it then. We'll figure out how to structure it for you.
Sir. All right, so thank you.
All right.
All right, sir.
Eudora, question.
No, I don't have any questions.
Ayobami, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you. Please, I feel like at this point of my life, I need to put so much in structure, and I've gotten so much insight from your session. So I just want to ask that, how do we get access to the recordings?
Oh, I'll share it. I'll share it after the class, like an hour after the class, because it takes time to process.
All right, thank you. That's all.
All right, Joy.
I don't have any question.
However, do you feel have you found yourself in this situation of trying to manage your time, organize it better? Do you think this works for you? Pretty much the question.
Yes, this works for me. I think you have really spoken to me because
I have been having a lot of challenges in terms of how I manage my time, and especially when I get overwhelmed with a lot of work to do. So I think this is going to work for me.
All right, cool. Thank you. Prudence. Hi, Prudence. All right. Okay, so furthermore, I think I just have Beauty that's not had that call. Remember, one of the things we've been saying is you have to be accountable to yourself. Please, if you've not done or submitted that tax, please do that. This is the last day of the month, so tomorrow is a new month, and before you know it, we are at the end of the quarter, and before you know it, we're in the middle of the year. Then you look back and start thinking, what did I do with 6 months? And the beautiful thing about the mind is it will give you reasons why you did not do anything. Like, oh, a lot happened. You know, that's what people now say. I survived. A lot of people died. Right? That's your mind giving you excuses for not achieving what you set out to achieve. Right? Trying to say, oh, the country was hard. At least I was able to stay alive as an achievement. Right? So that to avoid that being an achievement, you need to be very, very accountable to yourself. Right? We are going to be alive. So being alive is just like you are saying, oh, today I achieved so much. Today I was breathing. I was breathing all day. You are going to breathe. So you are going to be alive. So what you can now track is what goal you set and what goal you achieved. Okay, so the next month we are definitely going to restructure the accountability peer. Remember, there was actually a grade to it, more like a score sheet for it, tracking, but I didn't follow through with that because some people didn't even know that they had accountability partner. But now we all know. Please, let's try and keep yourself accountable, because you cannot hold someone accountable if you are not accountable to yourself. Right? For instance, like I said, only 2 people submitted the general tax I was given. Only 2 people have submitted it, which is not even 50% of a small number. Right? So let's try and do better next week, next month. There are also going to be a better structure into everyday activity, because you guys wait for me to talk on that group, which is not how it was intention. That was not the intention of how it was created. It's supposed to be more of a conversational arena. So I'm going to try and make it more. And please, if you see a message, maybe you should pin it. If you see a message, please try and reply. Even if it's just a notification, just let me tell you some of the things I learned. I learned from one of my first, I think, or my second boss. One was acknowledge. Always acknowledge. Always acknowledge when someone drops a message. If it's especially message directed to that is involving you, always acknowledge it. Even if the question, the message is not a question and it is just an information. Just a person, oh, seen, noted, thank you. Just that's acknowledged. The second thing was, wherever you are, you don't need to apply this one. Well, the second thing I learned there was wherever someone whose decision can influence your, how do I put it, your life, is turn on your camera. For instance, anywhere that I have someone that is my boss or someone that is higher, I would even most times just make it a habit. If you are in somewhere you can and you're having a meeting, turn on your cameras. Number 3 was, if you are in a meeting 4 times and you don't contribute, don't join the meeting again. If you're in a meeting that meeting can do, like if you do not join, they won't notice. There is no need to join again. That means your being there and not being there does not make any difference. Now, what does that help us? It helped me a lot to always try and contribute to conversations, and I've said this thing over and over again. The Yoruba has a saying that says empty barrel makes the loudest. That's not even Yoruba. Empty barrel makes the loudest. However, it's the full barrel that is supposed to make the loudest noise, right? So because you have something to say, so it gives you top of the mind awareness. It makes you the top of the mind for people. Like, oh, I don't know if you've been in that group in school where one person, or maybe your class, one person always talks, and it makes that person look like he's the smartest. It happened it happened in my first year in school. There was this guy that always talks, always challenges, always questions every single thing that any lecturer says. Right? He wasn't the smartest, but everybody was looking forward to his results. Everybody was looking forward to him. Right? So if you're in a meeting, always try and contribute. Okay. So pretty much let's leave it at that 3. But the most important part is acknowledge messages.